Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm here to report to you some bad news, and that is that three gun control bills, which pertains to two different subject matters, that passed the Michigan House and Senate during the recent lame duck period, these have been presented to the governor. In fact, they were presented to her yesterday. She has 14 days to either sign them into law or veto them, with signing them into law being highly probable. Let's just call a spade almost certainly probable. So the lame duck session, they tried to shove dozens of things through pertaining to gun control. We dodged a huge bullet, as most of you know, with all of the Republicans and Democrat Karen Whitsett walking out. But these were the few that did slip through. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you go back and watch my previous videos over the last few months, actually last couple of years, and you can bring yourself up to speed with what's going on in Michigan. And welcome, it's good to have you here. Okay, so two subject matters. We're looking at the mandatory destruction of certain firearms that have been seized or a buyback through the police. And we're also looking at another one that's pretty crazy, and that has to do with indoctrinating your children through MDHHS, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. So let's go through these and talk about them for just 1 second. And by the way, for all of my friends that live on the western side of Michigan, whether it's in the lower peninsula or upper peninsula, if you could do me a favor and wait till I'm done going over these bills, I have a favor to ask you guys where you guys might be able to help the channel gather some information and content that I'm looking for. All right, let's get into the seized and buyback firearms and the destruction of those and their parts. We're looking at House Bills number 6144 and substitute for House Bill 6145. Now, these were introduced during the lame duck and passed during the lame duck. There's no good time for gun control at all. All gun control, by the way, is completely unconstitutional. But it's even more of a low blow when they pass it after the elections. So this one starts off with your classic opening to all of these. And just think about this as I read through this bill. The people of the state of Michigan enact Section 5A1, beginning on the effective date of the amendatory act that added this section. The department shall dispose of all firearms that are purchased through a municipality under a gun buyback program and turned over to the department. Now, buyback, I reject that whole notion, because how can they buy a gun back from me when I never bought it from the government to begin with? But that's the term they use. Hot term nowadays. They call it a buyback. Number 2, the department shall dispose of all firearms described under subsection 1 by destroying the firearms. The department shall ensure that all parts of the firearm disposed under subsection 1 are destroyed. The department shall not resell any firearm described under subsection 1. So it's pretty self-explanatory. The whole gun, all the parts, they can't sell any of it. Number 3, is used in this section firearm means any weapon that is designed to or may readily be converted to expel a projectile by the act of an explosive. Now the companion, if you will, to this is 6145. Real quick little piece of trivia. I know some of you guys like to get in-depth knowledge. This first one's amending a public act from 1935. Most of our gun control in Michigan was found in 2 statutes, about 100 years old. The next one is going to amend Public Act 372 of 1927. That's how long we've had draconian gun control in the state of Michigan. So this one also starts off, the people of the state of Michigan enact. Now we're going to go through here, and you're going to see some areas where there's bold lettering. That's new words that have been added. We're also going to see some areas that are crossed out. See, it used to be, and I guess still technically is, I just believe the governor's going to sign these, where the police could auction off these firearms. That's not going to be the case anymore. They used to be able to transfer them from department to department and other lawful means that were prescribed by the state police, that they would decide, by the director. Not anymore. Now we're getting rid of those other provisions, such as auctioning off, transferring through another lawful manner, and it just simply says, the director shall ensure that all parts of a firearm disposed under this section are destroyed. And then it goes through just a little bit of changing it to where it used to say he or she, now it just says the owner. That's just another small thing they've been doing to all of these bills that have passed Michigan. They like to completely remove any gender pronouns because the Democrats don't want to use any such pronouns anymore. So just a little tidbit you'll see over and over again. Anywhere where it used to say his or her or he or she. These are not just the gun control bills they're doing this to, but all of them. So the governor was presented these at about 1:30 p.m. yesterday. So that's when the 14-day clock will start. And that clock does go by the hour. It goes down to the hour. So we'll probably see these signed into law soon. Hopefully not, but don't hope too long. Don't hold your breath anyways. You might be blue in the face because she'll probably sign these. All right, here's the next one. This is substitute for House Bill number 5450. This starts off with your classic. The people of the state of Michigan enact. And this is draconian. We're going to go through this. It's not long, guys. Just bear with me for a minute because this is crazy stuff. And let me know in the comments what you all think. Because this is total like Big Brother. Reminds me of something more like in a communist country. But here we are. Section 1313A1. By not later than July 1st, 2025, the Department of Health and Human Services shall develop and provide to the department an informational notice in English, Spanish, and Arabic containing information and best practices regarding the storage of firearms. This notice must include at least all of the following. So this is the least that it can contain, leaving it wide open by just the plain reading of this for them to actually add probably almost essentially whatever they want. One more thing before I continue. This isn't amending those statutes from 100 years ago. This is actually amending the revised school code. See, they're bringing gun control in through our children, into your home, how you're storing your firearms through the schools, through the guise of public health. And let that sink in. Through public health and through your children and the schools, they're bringing gun control, and they're concerning themselves with matters that should be intimate decisions within your home if you were a free person, if you were an American. But yet here we are. An overview of the requirements under Section 9 of 1927 Public Act 372 MCL 28.429. Remember, we had a safe storage law that went into effect last year. This is what they're talking about. All the provisions of the so-called safe storage, making it safer for the criminal in most cases. Not you. But, so remember all of that. Like I said, I know a lot of you guys have been following the channel for a long time, so I won't bore you with that. If you're new, lots of information on this channel. B, answers to frequently asked questions about firearm storage requirements. C, guidance on where a parent or legal guardian can obtain gun locks and gun safes, including free or low-cost options. Number 2, the department shall share the informational notice developed under Section 1 with all public schools, hold on a minute, and non-public schools. Yeah, non-public schools. First of all, they shouldn't be sharing any of this with public schools at all. And I'm actually starting to reject the notion more and more of public schools, especially with the Federal Department of Education. And I'm not so keen on what's going on here in Michigan either with all this indoctrination. But even if you're paying money to send your child to a private school, well, this is going to get sent to all public schools and non-public schools. Again, let me know in the comments. Does anyone besides me find that disturbing? Period. Either or. But like on a whole separate note, how do they have any authority to even be doing anything with non-public schools when it comes to this? I thought that's why a lot of us pay money for our children to go to a private school to get them out of the government indoctrination system. Number 3, beginning July 1st, 2026, the Department of Health and Human Services shall update annually the informational notice developed under subsection 1 to account for any change in the law. The updated notice must be provided annually to the department by not later than July 1st. So this is going to keep going and going and going. Now, also keep in mind, there was a larger school safety package that included funding and provisions for a tip hotline. Do you guys remember that follow the channel? Where your children or other people's children or, quite frankly, in my opinion, probably whoever, like, you know, could rat out their parents for the way they're storing firearms within the home. Now we're educating the schools to then, in my opinion, educate, so-called, indoctrinate the children on how the state says you should store your firearms within the home. That TIPLA hotline that's coupled with this. This is all just things that are stacking and stacking up, where you have to be worried about what you do within your own four walls of your home, whether your child's going to a public or a private school. And keep in mind, a lot of you don't have children. I get it. But this is other children that you're neighbors with, and this is just going to affect society generally. In my opinion, demonizing firearms to where, in their opinion, they're hoping that they can get the next generation to become anti-gun or anti-Second Amendment. All right, I'm going to get on and ask my Western Michigan viewers a quick favor. But real quick, for all of you guys, I spend a ton of time doing this channel. As you notice, I didn't read any sponsorship ads. So if any of you would like to help me out, I was just in Lansing yesterday. I'm going to give you guys a recap soon of what I talked about there. Hopefully some positive things may be happening for the Second Amendment in Michigan soon. But if you'd like to help out the channel, there's links where you can do that several different ways down in the description. And I appreciate all of the many ways you guys do support. If you'd like to help out a little bit, it would help out. It'd be much appreciated. All right. My friends that live in Michigan and the west side of the state, we're specifically talking about the Western District. I'm going to leave a link down in the comments. So check that pinned comment with two things. I'm going to list my email address where you guys can email me. Second of all, I'm going to list like a Wikipedia page that shows you the map of the areas in Michigan that I'm wondering about. And this is for the lower upper peninsula. Now, as a lot of you guys already know, we had laws go into effect last year that require this universal registration and background checks and this purchase permit system. So if you don't have a CPL and you want to buy a gun from a family member, friend, there may be some exemptions, but the guy down the street, whatever, right? You'd have to go to the police and get a purchase permit first. Also, if you're not a CPL holder and you're trying to buy a pistol, even from many and most gun shops that I'm aware of, again, there's a lot of inconsistency in this. This is why I'm asking you guys to chime in. So hold on one second. I'll tell you what I'm wondering for. You have to go and obviously get a purchase permit from the local police. It could be city police. It could be sheriff's department. You're also having to register these firearms, which we've had a pistol registry in Michigan for about 100 years. And every minute of it's been completely unconstitutional, in my opinion. And certainly all of these changes, making it even more draconian, that they've added on recently are as well. Here's what I'm asking you guys. Do any of you have a story to tell? Because the channel's trying to get information for something that I'm working on right now. Have any of you had experiences where you have to purchase or acquire a firearm, sometimes in many cases it might have even been a gift, where you've had to go to get this purchase permit? Have you had any hassles with it? Any troubles with it? Maybe it's a scenario where you live way up in the UP. Shout out to all my Uper friends, by the way. It's beautiful up there, and there ain't nobody around, and that's why you guys love it, right? Many rural areas, even in the lower peninsula as well, on the west side of the state. Have any of you had trouble getting to the sheriff's department or police station to acquire this purchase permit? Any of you had a hard time finding a way to get there, affording the cost of it? Maybe you went there and they were only accepting permits from 3 to 5 p.m. on Wednesdays, and you had to work, and it was hard to get there. Just anything like that, where it's put undue burdens on you. And let me say this, any burdens whatsoever with any permits are completely unconstitutional in my opinion, but I think you guys know what I'm getting at. I'm going to list an email address. If you guys want to email me, just your story real quick. I'm trying to gather some information for something I'm working on for the channel here, and I will reply back to you in the email. Try to get it to me within like 24 hours or so, like 1 or maybe 2 days at the most, because I'm trying to see what's going on out there, because I had heard of some things in some of the more rural areas, especially pertaining to Western Michigan, UP, and Lower Peninsula both, where maybe some people are having a hard time either getting the permits, or it's just a big hassle, hard for you to do it and overcome in different ways. Maybe you're trying to go to the police station to get the permits or to register your pistol. I know. This is all nonsense to even have to do any of this, but send me an email. That's going to be in the pinned comment. And I'm also going to leave a map for the Western District of Michigan There's going to be a link. I think, again, it's going to be to Wikipedia where you can kind of see if you live in one of those counties. Because, yeah, I'm just curious. I've been hearing a lot of stuff, and I'd like to know a little more information. And maybe some of you guys will want to help out with that. All right. Well, I will be back to talk about more stuff soon. And I will see you all later. Thanks for watching. And have a good one.